Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Now, today we will be playing ExploreTron again with two minor adjustments. Number one, I dropped Urza's Factory in favor of a Scavenger Grounds because this deck doesn't have anything other than a Grafdigger's Cage in it. We're not playing any main deck relics, so we need some kind of Grave Hate, and Urza's Factory felt really marginal. It's good in like a kind of grindy control matchup, but even then it's not really that good. Then in the side, I dropped one wilt, so we have two claim, one wilt, and I added one spatial contortion because I do want some kind of early kill spell. There's a chance that it should be dismember, and there's a chance that this scavenger ground should be a ghost quarter or something else. But we're just testing. We're gonna see what's good, and if this isn't good, then we'll move away from this. I do need to try and find a slot for some other stuff as well, but this felt like the minimum necessary change, and we're trying to be scientists about this, do it right. So we're going to make small changes as we go through and iterate on this list, so that we can tell what makes the difference. I don't know what it is. I like drinking the Bang energy drink. No, not sponsored. The problem is, where I'm currently at, all the flavors just suck anywhere you go. Like, none of the good flavors are there. They're always something weird. Alright, well, this hand is keepable, but I don't like it, so I'm going to mulligan. This hand is way better, so we're going to keep. And I got to put back a forest. Forest is what we're most likely to draw. So as long as my opponent is not playing a Thoughtseize deck, which of course they are, because I didn't see them reveal Luris. I actually probably should have considered mulliganing. And had I seen Luris of the Dream Den, I would have put back, I think I would have put back something other than the forests. Oh, unless this is hammer time. It looks like hammer time. Okay. If it's hammer time, there's actually a chance we're dead already. So start Power Plant into Chromatic Star, pass the turn. The problem is my opponent can now give protection to all of their creatures from Karn, honestly, but... So, if my opponent plays an equipment and finds a way to equip it, we can nuke the equipment, unless they have Apostle's Blessing, but it's not looking good for us right now. If they're mana screwed, there's a chance, but... Alright, so my opponent played a Springleaf Drum. They're running out of cards in hand. It's probably a Pure Steel here. Yep. One card left. They crack Bauble. They attack. Interesting. What if I had a Dismember opponent? Okay, we draw Explore. Which, I mean, I could Explore here, but I don't think that's right. Crack for green. We get a Worm Coil. Cast Sylvan Scrying. We're going to get an Urza's Mine. So Tron assembled next turn. It just kind of depends on whether or not my opponent has the artifact to equip or not. I mean, Pure Steel Paladin doesn't do any equipping at instant speed. Opponent plays Shadow Spear, they get to draw. They play another Bauble, they crack it. They're out of cards now. So they do have a Shadow Spear, but that's it. So we have to play Karn and nuke Giver of Runes. Opponent puts Luris into their hand. We could play Karn and actually uptick. That's kind of reasonable here. Because my opponent is in top deck mode, so we just have to dodge the Colossus Hammer, really. Oh, we can't uptick because of Mishra's Bauble, I forgot. Okay. Let me think about this. So my opponent will have 3 cards in hand, one of which is Luris, so they have 2 unknowns. If they can play Colossus Hammer, we want Worm Coil Engine because we can at least chump whatever they put it on for 3 turns, which would give us more time to react with Karn. If I play out Karn and a downtick on Shadow Spear or Giver of Runes, Karn dies, and I feel like we can get more value out of him. Plus, if we top deck a Tower or a Forest, we can cast an Ulamog, which should solve the problem in one way or another. So I would not be surprised at all if my opponent just plays Luris, plays a Bauble, and cracks it. Okay. Opponent plays Silent Clearing, plays Luris. If I have a path, I'll be really sad. Because that's kind of how this hand goes wrong. Ugin would really help. Okay, second Pure Steel. They move Shadow Spear over to Ornithopter and hit us for 1 in the air. Okay. We untap, they draw. Then we draw. Another Sylvan Scrying. So we're playing Karn, there's no question. We're not doing anything else this turn. Question is, what do we hit with Karn? We can't hit any creature other than Giver. And we could hit Shadow Spear. Alternatively, we can uptick on our opponent's hand because they only have 1 card. And I think that means Ornithopter has to... Or Ornithopter gets a chance to attack Karn. We can't attack with Wormcoil, I don't think. We get a Giver of Runes. If we attack with Wormcoil, they just block and give protection. They're going to do the same thing if they attack, but I would rather have an additional blocker for Karn. Okay, opponent replays Bauble. We need to draw something else. We haven't quite got this game under wraps yet. Third Pure Steel. Well, if I could top deck like a green land and then explore into a Ugin, that'd be fantastic. Because that would handle the problem. Opponent attacks Karn for 1. He goes down to 9. They get to draw. We draw Chromatic Sphere. Alright, let's get some more information before we do anything. Play Chromatic Sphere. Sack Sphere for green. Okay, we got another chromatic item. That's good. So then we can Ancient Stirrings. Because we're looking for Ugin. There's Ugin. Okay. Then we can play Star. Crack Star for green. Get a Power Plant. Sylvan Scrying. Get a Forest. Play a Forest. I could have also gotten Blast Zone. That may have been better. Explore. Get a Sanctum of Ugin. So, play... I don't think it matters at this point. Play Power Plant. We can either down-tick on Giver, or we can up-tick on our opponent's hand. If a down-tick on Giver, there's a greater risk that Karn dies, but they can't give protection with any of their ground attackers, meaning we would gain life if they attacked. So I actually think we're going to do that. So glad that Giver can't protect herself like Bomb can. Just because that's the kind of card that I don't want to see in Modern. I'm glad that instead of printing Mom Light, they printed Mom Alternative, because Mom can only protect you from colored spells, and Giver of Runes can protect you from colorless ones as well. So like there's sort of a choice to be made there. It's obvious that Mom is the stronger card, but there is some utility to the quote-unquote weaker version. That's the kind of design that I like seeing. When they print something powerful that is an alternate use to a powerful spell. Even if it is sort of redundant in that they mostly do the same thing. Okay, so opponent plays a land. They found the Colossus Hammer, which is also an Ancestral Recall for some reason. They play a Stoneforge Mystic for a second Colossus Hammer. So they can play out Colossus Hammer. Whatever they put it on loses flying. And we might have just enough toughness to block and with lifelink gain life. So I'm really glad I took out the Giver of Runes, because otherwise they could have prevented the damage and we wouldn't have gained any life. But we might also still be dead just to like a huge attack. I think the best thing our opponent could do would be to stack all of the hammers on one thing and then put Shadow Spear on the same thing. Blast Zone would have been... if I had Sylvan Scryed for Blast Zone right away, we would have been fine, I think. Alright. So getting Blast Zone was probably the play. How much damage is that? 2, 4, 6, 7. Plus 24 is 31. We can block 6 damage, bringing it down to 25. We can gain 6 life and still take 19. Dang. It's 4 more than we had. Okay. So we're bringing in the Nature's Claims, the Wilt, and the Spatial Contortion. Gonna go down Thragtusk. I don't think Scavenger Grounds is that useful here. And I think Ulamog's a little ambitious to cast in this matchup. Okay. Alright, we'll play first. Alright. Can't keep that. Got a mulligan. This is technically keepable. We have so many redraws. It's just slow, and we have no interaction. I'm gonna go to 5. Okay, I can work with this. It's not great, though. I have to put 2 cards back, and I think it has to be Karn Liberated. The problem is if we get Thought Seized. I think I have to put Karn Liberated and Chromatic Sphere back. Because this is the only way we get protected from a Thoughtseize, and this deck most certainly sideboards Thoughtseize. So we're going to start Urza's Mine into Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Marsh Flats, cracks Marsh Flats, and finds a Plains into a Springleaf Drum. Okay, we find Blast Zone, which is good. That way we have it. So, play a Forest, play Chromatic Star, sack Star for green, we draw Explore, Ancient Stirrings. Okay, we find a Power Plant, rest at the bottom, pass the turn. Next turn we can play Power Plant, Explore, play Blast Zone, and fetch Tower. Opponent plays an Ornithopter, which does give them their 2nd mana, and an Inkmoth, and a Stoneforge. Okay, they play out Colossus Hammer, so we are in danger. We don't really have a way to get around it either. Let's start by exploring. Alright, that doesn't help. Play Power Plant, play Blast Zone. And we have to crack for Tower. And our opponent can't have Pure Steel and enough mana to animate Inkmoth, or we lose. Okay, opponent plays Silent Clearing. There's Pure Steel. And they can animate and equip. Well, I stand by my mulligan decision. If we'd had Spatial Contortion, Nature's Claim, or Wilt, we could have done something. I'm glad that I had Explore, because it was the only chance we were going to have to be fast enough. But so I guess that's an edge that this version has over the regular version of Tron. And I'll see you guys in round 2. Alrighty, round 2, here we go. I would love to play first. This hand is really slow, so I'm going to mulligan. Well, this hand is very slow, but we will be able to play Karn quickly. And by quickly, I mean turn 4. Unless we draw an Explorer. I'm going to keep this, actually. I'm going to put back a Sphere. Having the cantrip redraws is not as important when you have just forests. So, play Forest, Ancient Stirrings. Get a Power Plant, rest to the bottom. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Snow-Covered Plains, Aether Vial. So it's Death and Taxes, it would appear. Play Power Plant, play Star. Gonna go ahead and crack Star here. We have a lot of 1-mana things. There's one. Pass the turn. Also, when you have 2 forests, it's not like you really need the green mana off of your spheres and stars, so cracking them early is fine. You just want to draw basically as quickly as you can. And like I said, there's a lot of 1-mana things we could draw there, and we could play any of them. So, okay, opponent plays Cavern. This should give us a better idea of what's going on. This could actually be humans. Okay, opponent plays an Auriok Champion. We draw Sylvan Scrying. We're going to crack Sphere first to see if we draw Tron Land. Okay, we don't. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get Mine. Play the Mine. Play Chromatic Sphere. Pass the turn. Next turn, we can play Karn Great Creator. If we draw a tower, we can play Karn Great Creator and a threat, such as Walking Ballista. Opponent plays a Sunbaked Canyon. Is this a Ranger Captain? It's an Archon of Emeria. Okay. Not really what I had anticipated. Opponent attacks us for 1. We untap. We draw another Urza's Mine. Crack Sphere for green. A third Karn. Alright, play Urza's Mine. Crap, I meant to play the Forest. I was like, oh, don't forget to play the Forest. Archon makes your mind come in tapped. Alright. Pass the turn. Well, the good news is if we top deck a tower, we can cast Ulamog, and then all of our problems are solved forever. So opponent untaps, attacks for 3. We take 3. We were lucky that our opponent didn't have anything to play off the Aether Vial. So that was a punt. My bad. It's early in the morning. Not fully caffeinated yet. Opponent plays a Ranger Captain of Eos, which is what I initially thought they were playing off of 3 mana, which is very bad news for us, because if they just sack it, it's effectively Time Warp. They find a Walking Ballista. Is this some kind of weird red-white Ballista combo? Because they could be playing Heliod as well. I wonder if they can vial in Heliod. Alright, we untap. We draw Karn. Play a Forest. Play Mr. Great Creator. Opponent vials in with the Aether Vial in response. It is a second Ranger Captain of Eos. I think that does it, because my opponent can just attack next turn, and it really doesn't matter what we grab out of the sideboard. Like, they're just going to prevent us from casting spells for 2 turns. The only thing that's going to do it at all is if we top deck a tower and can cast Ulamog. So, we land a Karn. I'm just going to uptick. I'm not going to animate anything. Fetching anything out of the sideboard is completely futile from this position, so I want them to dedicate as much damage as possible to killing Karn if we're not just dead outright. Sort of using him like a half fog if my opponent doesn't see him as a threat. I mean, does see him as a threat. They just swing everything at us. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Really need this Ulamog. Come on, tower. Uh-oh. Skyclave Apparition. Alright, well that explains why they didn't attack Karn. They play an Arid Mesa. This Ulamog, like Hail Mary, would be completely negated if my opponent had a path. So, there's that. Come on, tower. I need that tower. Like, we can't even map for it or anything. It has to be just tower. Because we can only cast 1 spell a turn, thanks to Archon. Alright, opponent vials in a 3-drop. It's a third Ranger Captain. I'm pretty sure that does it. I'm pretty sure even if I nuke Archon and Skyclave and have 2 blockers, that would keep me alive, actually. Alright, we untap. Tower. Alright, tower. Nope. Alright. So, Thragtusk, Spatial Contortion in. 1 Ulamog, Scavenger Grounds out. We're going to try like this. It's possible that I could need Nature's Claim or Wilt, especially if my opponent is playing Blood Moon. Which, I mean, we just played a Death and Taxes list that plays Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon, and our opponent is red-white. But if it's Magus of the Moon, Spatial Contortion's basically it, and that's not really going to work because we're not going to have colorless mana, and we can't filter into colorless mana. So this is a situation where I wish I had Dismember, which is something we need to be aware of, is how frequently do we wish this was a Dismember, or that we had a Dismember? And in this matchup, I really wish I had O-Stone, and unfortunately we do not have it. Now, I could trim a Thragtusk or a Worm Coil for an Oblivion Stone. That would be reasonable when editing this deck. I don't really want to go down to 19 lands with 4 Explorers in the deck either, like in the main deck. Close. Not really, though. We're going to mulligan. Ugh. That's way worse. Go to 5. Alright, I like it. We can work with this. We gotta put back 2 cards. So I'm going to put back Worm Coil and... it's either Chromatic Star or Forest. Putting back Forest seems really greedy. I'm going to put back Chromatic Star. I actually probably should have kept a Worm Coil over Thragtusk, now that I think about it, but Thragtusk is better versus Path. So we'll start Urza's Mine, pass the turn. Opponent plays Plains Aether Vial. We untap, we draw Tron, play a Forest, go exploring, play the Power Plant, pass the turn. Opponent plays an Aether Vial, takes it up to 1. There's 0 chance of Arbiter shenanigans this turn. Ooh boy. Well, that's better than what I was planning. Play Karn Liberated. Nuke Aether Vial. None of their 1-mana plays are really a threat, unless they have Champion of the Parish, which would be possible. Okay. Opponent untaps. If they play nothing, and they miss a land drop, I'm sacking Karn to take out a land. And playing Thragtusk, if I don't draw something better, that is. I did like Explore here, because Explore means I can play Thragtusk faster. It also cantripped and got us deeper into the deck. It was pretty good this time. I mean, like, Sphere or Star would have gotten us the same distance, but... If my opponent plays an Archon, I'm okay with this. They play Heliod. I am not okay with that, so they are playing Ballista Heliod combo. Alright, we're gonna start Star. And draw before we do anything else. Another Power Plant. Play the Power Plant. Now, do I uptick on their hand or do I downtick on Heliod? If I uptick on their hand, Karn sticks around. They can't play and go infinite with a Ballista. I think upticking is correct here. So I'm going to do that. Downticking on Heliod is technically safer. We just Sunbaked Canyon. Play Thrag. Gain life, pass the turn. But like, even if my opponent has to have a Ballista on 2 and give it lifelink, which means they need 4 mana, and we would theoretically have a turn to respond before they could do that. Alright, 3 mana, opponent plays Ranger Captain. They get Walking Ballista, so they are going to go for the combo, which means this turn we're down-ticking Karn to take out Heliod. Okay. We draw a Chromatic Sphere, play Chromatic. Sack it for green. We get a Sylvan Scrying. Sylvan Scrying. Get a Blast Zone. Play Blast Zone. Goodbye, Heliod. Leave Swagtusk back to block. Opponent's hand is Walking Ballista, 2 unknowns. Skyclave Apparition does not hit anything on this board, which feels great, by the way. Okay, so my opponent plays another Heliod. So I think their plan is to get us to downtick on that Heliod, then play Walking Ballista and ping Karn to kill it. I could tick up Blast Zone, and I think I'm going to. My opponent's deck plays a lot of 3-drops. So I want to be able to blow up a lot of 3-drops. We untap. Draw Karn, Great Creator. My opponent may sack Ranger Captain here, which, I mean, would be okay. They're thinking about it. They don't. Play a Forest. We have to be careful before we give them priority. So we have 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. So we could get our own Walking Ballista, or we could get Sorcerer's Spyglass and name Ballista. I like that one. But my opponent could actually just sack Ranger Captain and prevent us from putting Sorcerer's Spyglass on Ballista. And if they're going to do that, I would rather get like a Liquid Metal Coating. First things first. Kill Heliod. Because this Karn is going to die pretty much no matter what. I could get Sundering Titan, but that only takes my opponent off of 1 land. I could also get Ensnaring Bridge here, but my opponent probably has answers to artifacts. Okay. we're pretty strongly favored to win there, considering our opponent was just going to have to throw away their hand for taking out one of our, like, 3 threats. I don't think I need anything else in my sideboard. Like I said, we could bring in 1 Wilt, because at the very least we can cycle it, but if my opponent has Blood Moon, we have a way to answer it, because we don't have O-Stone in this deck. We only have Ugin the Spirit Dragon. I'm going to cut a Worm Coil because it's worse versus Path, and if my opponent has any creature removal left in the deck, it's going to be Path to Exile. Alright. Well, I'm not going to turn down turn 3 Tron. This sucks if my opponent has a Leonin Arbiter, though. Just saying. So we're going to keep. My opponent plays a Plains. We untap. Draw Thragtusk. So play Power Plant, play Expedition Map, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays Arid Mesa, cracks Arid Mesa, and gets a Snow-Covered Plains into a Luminarch Aspirant. Okay. I draw Karn. So, players is mine. I could get a Forest here so that I can ensure that I cast my spells, but I think we just have to go for Tron. I'd really like to top deck a Forest. I think that'd be great, actually. We're going to need 1 more land to actually hit Ugin. Okay, opponent plays Cavern on Human. 3 mana. I knew it! I knew it! Oh, we are so boned. Okay, well, how do we deal with this? We don't. That's the answer. I was like, oh, I know it's going to be Magus, and I'm going to regret having Spatial Contortion. I called this exact thing happening. Oh, that's so frustrating. Because, like, we are running more enchantment removal to deal with Blood Moon because we don't have O-Stone. This tells me we need 1 O-Stone in the main. You don't have to max out on it, you don't have to run 2 or 3, but you need to have access to 1. So our only hope is to get a Forest and then just hit nothing but lands as we explore our way to victory. Thragtusk can buy us time. This is still an uphill fight, if it's even a fight at all, which is frustrating. So opponent attacks us for 6. We're gonna go to 11. I called this happening. Kano, stop calling stuff, because that's how you lose. By calling, and then the universe is like, oh, that's a great idea! I think you should totally lose that way. So our opponent attacks us for 6. We go to 11. So our opponent has to have nothing. We have to top deck a Forest, explore into a land, untap, play Thragtusk, buy a turn. And I think my opponent still has stuff to play, which is the problem. Yup. What is it? Is it worse for me? Yeah, it's way worse. Okay, we untap, draw Chromatic Sphere, so play Sphere, sack for green, we get a Forest, explore, land, we're taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage next turn, and we die to Walking Ballista. Explore. Well, Explore was great there. The problem was my opponent's clock was just too fast. And we didn't have O-Stone. Oh, that's unfortunate, and I called it happening. So, we're going to be making adjustments to this list, don't you worry. Just, we have the rest of this league to play out. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty. Here we go. Well, we have an Explore hand, and 2/3 of Tron. I think I'm actually okay keeping this. It's a little weird as far as hands go, but the Scavenger Grounds could be relevant. We do have a backup plan to get there quickly. If we can crack map, get another Tron piece, we can explore to kind of speed our hand up. And it looks like we're against Burn. It's kind of inconsistent. Okay, so we drew Ugin. We'll go ahead and crack map, get Urza's Mine, play the Mine, play Star, sack Star for green. I think the only thing I'd play over Explore here is Spatial Contortion. Okay, Explore. Alright, pass the turn. Well, we're untapping and playing an Ugin. As long as my opponent doesn't have, like, Land Ritual Blood Moon. Don't have Land Ritual Blood Moon, please. I'm tired of calling crazy crap that I lose to. Opponent, lightning bolt. They're gonna hit us for 2, and we're gonna go to 9. Okay. We untap and draw a redundant Ugin. Play Ugin. Now I want to uptick. I really want to uptick. But if my opponent has a mutagenic growth that they've been sandbagging, that's how we lose. So we're just going to -1. We have a redundant Ugin if it becomes necessary. So next turn, if we uptick on this Ugin and they mutagenic growth to protect a prowess creature, then we can play our other Ugin and uptick on Ugin, and then Ugin has a lot more loyalty. Problem solved. Opponent plays a Wayward Guide Beast. This only when it deals combat damage to a player, so they could attack Ugin without picking up a land if they wanted, but why would they want that? Opponent plays a mountain. Play another creature, please. No more burn. Oh no. Alright, well we drew a Tron land and everything is hunky-dory. Play the Tron land. Play Ulamog. Nuke our opponent's only 2 permanents. We have a blocker now. My opponent's hand has to be like land, bolt, untap, bolt to kill us. And we have a number of lightning bolts from Ugin to help kill our opponent. Pass the turn. My opponent has missed land drops for several turns. Alright, they concede. Oh, but they get to be on the play. Yeah, alright, run it back. Gotta hope for a good hand. Well, it's a hand that plays Expedition Map, Explore, Ancient Stirrings, potentially. If this Sanctum was a forest, I'd consider keeping, but I think we have to mulligan for something stronger. This counts, I guess. Put back Sanctum. We have Chromatic Sphere, Ancient Stirrings to try and find something that's going to work. So, here's hoping. Opponent starts Goblin Guide. That has the potential to help us out. Karn, Great Creator on top. Well, it's a cheap threat. We go down to 18. We draw Karn, Great Creator. Play an Urza's Mine. Play Chromatic Star. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Wayward Guide Beast. So they get to rebuy this land. It's so aggressive. Expedition Map on top. Not really what we wanted to see. They replay Mountain. We have a Soulscar Mage. Alright, we untap. Draw Expedition Map. Crack Star for green, see what we draw. Another mine. So, Ancient Stirrings. We're still looking for Tower. Guess we take Karn Liberated. Rest to the bottom. Oh, actually, I might have needed to get Ensnaring Bridge, so it might have been correct to get nothing there. Play Power Plant. Play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Yeah, at this point I think I need to top deck Tower. Because if they're stuck on one land, and they may not be, but if they're stuck on one land, Karn hitting their land is one of the only things we could do. Yeah, so we're dead on board. Like, I could get Blast Zone, but it's too slow. We draw a Forest, we draw a Power Plant. Everything gets first strike, it does 1,000,000 damage. Yeah, if they had drawn me Tower and I top-decked Worm Coil, then maybe. That is not what happened. So, crack map, hit Tower, play Tower, play Sphere, crack Sphere for green. Alright, yep. Yeah, if this is if this isn't gonna be the new burn deck that's like actually a thing, then I would really like to have Weather the Storm back in this deck. In the sideboard. Alright, round 4, here we go. So I've definitely made some misplays this league. And in reality, instead of 0-3, I should probably be 1-2. Another Luris. Alright, I'm going to mulligan this hand. Okay, I will keep this. We do have Karn Great Creator, but this hand is actually kind of Thoughtseize resilient. So if my opponent Inquisitions or Thoughtseizes to start, we still have a game plan. Oh, it's Mill! It's Mill and I'm not playing Kozilek. It's probably an issue, considering I'm going to need to search my deck. So play Power Plant. We can either play Sphere, we can play Map. You know what? I'm going to go with Sphere. I don't want to search my deck unless I have to. And Ancient Stirrings is not searching your deck. My luck is they've maxed out on surgicals in the main. They're going to mill a Tron piece, surgical it, and just be like, what now? If we can get down a Karn Great Creator and play a Trinisphere, then we don't have to worry about trap as much. Alright, they mill Urza's Mine. They fetch, get a land, mill 3 more cards. And then Maddening Cacophony. Alright, there's 2 Urza's Mines down. No! Why? I mean, I will take solace in the fact that I am in the 0-3 bracket, and odds are so is my opponent. But still, sad day. Okay, we draw Ancient Stirring, so we are not assembling Tron at any point. Which means if I draw a land off of Sphere, I'm going to cast Explore. Because maybe that gives us a chance. Okay. So, play Blast Zone. Cast Explore. We have no reason to search our deck at all now. We have all of our, like, tech lands at the moment, except for Scavenger Grounds, which I will be leaving in this matchup on the off chance it helps versus something like that. Play Sanctum. And I guess I'm going to play out Map. I'm going to try very hard not to use Map, though I might need to for a Forest. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent's turn. They play a Ruin Crab. They play a land. They're going to mill us for 6. Then they play Mesmeric Orb. I think that means it's game over, if it wasn't already. Mill a forest that we really needed. Okay, we draw a forest. Well, my opponent is basically out of mill. What can we do here? Play Karn. I think we're going to have to go coding Trinisphere and just try and, like, blow up all of our opponent's lands. Crack Blast Zone along the way. But I don't think we can actually beat Mesmeric Orb in time. We have to hope that our opponent, like, dodges drawing fetch lands. So, alright, get coding. Pass the turn. And then I guess we'd have to beat down with Walking Ballista. I don't want to just give up. Oh, man. Yeah, that's probably game. My opponent's last card in hand is most likely Archive Trap, so they just crack Field of Ruin, hit Blast Zone. We have to search, and then they just mill the rest of our deck. Yup. There's our last forest. They mill us for 6. We go down to 11 cards. They Archive Trap us, and that's game over. Even if it wasn't, like, Mesmeric Orb is... Yeah, double Mesmeric Orb is too strong. We don't have... If I had a Kozilek, there's some chance that, like, we could actually beat this deck, but I don't think even post-sideboarding we really stand a chance. So I'll bring in Veils, I'll bring in Claims, we'll cut Ulamog, cut Ugins, I will bring in Spatial Contortion, we'll go down a Forest, a Worm Coil, and try it like this. So we have to, like, bias our threats towards the lower end of the spectrum here. Or bias, not bias, one is, anyway. Bias our threats towards the lower end of the mana cost curve, because we will need to be able to cast them without Tron. But I mean, like, we weren't teched to play against Mill, which you basically have to be in order to beat them. If you're playing Tron, that is. So, I'm not going to be upset if I lose this, because I am certainly going to lose this. But I will try. Okay, this is the potential for a turn 3 Karn. So as long as they don't mill mine and surgically extract it, we should be able to play Karn on turn 3. The alternative is they're holding 4 Archive Traps, and we just lose instantaneously upon searching our library. Fun fact, for those of you who don't know, Modern Mill is one of the only decks in any format that can kill your opponent on turn 0, as in during your opponent's first turn without playing a land. And the way that works is, if you're holding 4 Archive Traps and your opponent starts Fetch Land Cantrip, in response to the cantrip, you cast 4 Archive Traps, and if they're playing a 60-card deck and have an opening hand of 7, then they have 53 cards left. They fetch 1 out, 52 cards left. 4 times 13 is 52, and then they die to their own cantrip. I've never done this. I've never seen it done. But in theory, it's possible. So, Chromatic Star for green. We hit another Explore. Sylvan Scrying, we're going for the mine. F6! Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't play fast enough to hit us with the F6. Nope, there goes. There goes Archive Trap number 1. Along with like every green card in Forest in our deck. So, only one Archive Trap. They didn't hit Urza's Mine. So as long as it's not like fetch land and then mill mine, we're okay. But if they mill Urza's Mine, it's game over. Opponent plays a Visions of Beyond. If they miss a land drop here and we nab a land with Karn, that could also do it. Alright. Second Karn is exactly what I wanted. Play Urza's Mine. Play Karn Liberated. And my opponent scoops. Perfect. I'm going to put the Forest back in. Cut a Thrag Tusk. Try it like this. I really want the maximum number of lands that I can have in this matchup. For multiple reasons, but... Alright, we have Claim, we have Contortion, we have 4 mana Karn. If any hand was going to do it, it's the one that doesn't search our deck and has our cheapest threats and most acceleration we can have, so... We will keep. Opponent starts Watery Grave, tapped. Okay. We draw Expedition Map, which I will not be playing at basically any point in this game. And we're going to start Forest rather than Tron Land, because if my opponent plays a Mesmeric Orb, I want to hit it with Nature's Claim immediately. Opponent plays a Swamp. Sketchy. I suspect they have like a Counter Squall or a Drown in the Loch. Draw Worm Coil. So play Tower. Go Exploring. Opponent cantrips in response. Draw another Explore. Play Sanctum of Ugin. Play out Expedition Map. Not gonna crack Expedition Map, but we have nothing else to do, so there's no reason to keep it in our hand, I think. They don't have any non-targeted discard, unless they're playing Liliana of the Veil, which is pretty unlikely. Oh no. Alright, they field a Ruined Tower. We get a Forest. Here come the traps. Alright, well we weren't banking on Tron this game, so that's fine. It's just bad because it lessens the number of lands we have to draw. They leave Tower in our grave, likely for Drown in the Loch reasons. Alright, we untap. Draw Blast Zone. Alright, there's hope. There's a tiny, minuscule glimmer of hope. Play Karn, Great Creator. We are going to wish for Liquid Metal Coating. Pass the turn. And then next turn we're going to wish for and play Trinisphere first. Because 2 cards in our graveyard means Drown in the Loch can counter Liquid Metal Coating and not Trinisphere. Opponent did not have any Archive Traps. I'm sorry I'm yawning so much, it's so bad. So if my opponent plays another cantrip and just leaves up Drown in the Loch, well, I mean, I guess this works. Opponent plays the Crab, passes, we untap, draw land. Okay, we're going to start with Spatial Contortion, because this could also get countered. Alright, they're waiting to try and counter Liquid Metal Coating. So we are going to go get Trinisphere. Let's slow things down. Play Trinisphere. No! I actually didn't even think. I was like, oh, big brain play. We're going to try and bait the counter first. But then I put a 3rd card in the grave. And they could just Drown in the Loch Trinisphere. Oh my gosh. Is there such a thing as a big brain punt? This isn't it. That was just plain idiocy. That wasn't even that wasn't even a punt. That's just dumb. Yep. Well, they're playing something. Blood Chief's Thirst. Okay. Well, we draw Sylvan Scrying. They surgically extract Karn. Yep. So we actually need to tutor up a land here. We don't have a choice. And then we're going to try and Worm Coil our way to victory. So Sylvan Scrying. We'll get Scavenger Grounds. Play it. coding doesn't do anything anymore, but I'll still play it out. Maybe I needed to leave up Scavenger Grounds, but we'll see. I might have to crack Scavenger Grounds before I cast Wormcoil. My opponent could have another Drown in the lock. That would suck. Then we just have, like, no way to win the game. Karn, question mark? On a Maddening Cacophony. Mills a bunch of stuff. I mean, if they surgically extract Karn Liberated, we have to resolve this Wormcoil or we just lose. Because this is like our last way to win the game. They haven't milled Thragtusk. Wow, alright. Well, they don't have a Drown in the lock they can cast this game. Alright. We untap. Did my opponent just play out a land? They did. Man, you got Hedron Crabs in that deck. Why'd you play that land out? Oh, so they could hardcast Archive Traps if it comes up. That's what it was. Okay. Here we go. One worm to win it. Leave up Nature's Claim and just in case my opponent has a Mesmeric Orb this turn. Alright. Opponent plays Mesmeric Orb. Exactly as predicted. Nature's Claim the Orb. They put Lurrus into their hand too, so they can replay it next turn. We untap. Draw Sylvan Scrying. I mean, I could just crack Scavenger Grounds now. It's probably reasonable. Let's go ahead and exile the Graves. So there's no shenaniganery happening. I don't want my opponent to just play Lurrus, replay Orb, or play Crab, or worse. Alright. Commence the Wormcoil beatdown. My opponent is 2 top-decked Archive Traps away from killing us. And Moto is lagging so hard right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and restart the client. So opponent goes down to 13, and we passed. Okay. So, my opponent untaps, their hand is Lurrus, 1 unknown. Visions of Beyond. Kind of glad that I exiled the Graves. Opponent plays Lurrus of the Dream Den. And a Crab. Sack Blast Zone. We lose Expedition Map, opponent loses Crab. Really wish I had a Relic, to be honest. We're under double Archive Trap anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and explore. Ancient Stirrings. Alright. Go to combat. The problem now is I may have needed to actually tick up Blast Zone to 3 to kill Lurrus. Because now my opponent can just replay the Crab every turn as a blocker. So I guess I technically threw this game. We took out Ugin entirely. There's no Ulamog to top deck into. Not that we could cast either of them if we could. I guess I do have a Thragtusk, maybe? I mean, unless my opponent mills Thragtusk, in which case I don't. So yeah, I need to draw a Thragtusk. They hit Sanctum. Okay. They attack us for 3. We untap and draw a useless Sylvan Scrying. Go to combat and attack. Opponent chumps. Opponent untaps. Replay Crab. So I guess undiversifying my threats is what killed me here because my opponent surgicaled all of my threats. Alright. There's still a chance we win. It's very small, but it does exist. Attack for 6. Opponent chumps. Play out Thragtusk. Here we go. If my opponent attacks with Lurrus, we do block it. Even though the token would die to Fatal Push, they would stop being able to make infinite blockers. So, I think I actually should not have been attacking, because it's allowed my opponent to gain life. Alright. Pass the turn. I've made a lot of mistakes this league. Well, they have Archive Trap. So we're dead to any mill spell or a land, which is basically their whole deck. They'd have to draw a Drown in the lock, or Visions of Beyond. They replay the crab. Another crab. Alright. They don't attack. We untap. Yeah, that's game. Alrighty. Well, we're 1 and 2 in 3 matches. The only one of those that really felt completely unwinnable was Mill. So I'll see you guys in round 5. Alrighty. Here we go. It's kind of a slow Tron assembly, so I'm going to mulligan and see if we can't do it faster. This hand is not very good. Alright, well, I will keep this. We'll put back Chromatic Star and, I guess a Forest. If I had Explore, I might have put back Karn. Opponent starts Island. We draw Explore. Okay. Play Forest, Ancient Stirring, Mine, or Power Plant. I guess it doesn't really matter. Pass the turn. Next turn, we can play Mine, Sylvan Scrying for Power Plant. Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to go with Explore. Yeah, if one's going to get countered, I think it's that one that is preferred. Although it was Remand, so... Cascade Bluffs tells me this is Kiki. Like Kiki Twin. Kind of weird to see an island because that deck plays around Choke super hard. And also they play like into Blood Moon so that they can cast Kiki easier, which is really weird. Go ahead and Explore. Archmage's Charm. Yep, that's fine. Play Tower. Pass the turn. Okay, my opponent does not play anything. Deceiver Exarch. Tapping Tower. Yeah. Alright, we draw Power Plant. Play Power Plant. Play Karn. Let's go ahead and Wish. I guess we could get Sorceress Spyglass and name Kiki. Can't do anything this turn. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Valakut Stoneforge. Opts. Well, any remand or permissions-based counter like Mana Leak we can play through. The only thing I think we can't play through right here is a Deprive or a main deck Ceremonious Rejection. Okay, opponent hits Karn down to 2. We untap. Draw Ancient Stirrings. Oh, Ancient Stirrings first. Get Ulamog. Rest to the bottom. Play Tower. Play Ulamog. Nuke 2 lands. We know our opponent missed a land drop, so yeah, that was the more important play. Alright, Veil of Summer's in, along with Claim and Wilt. Tusk's out. 1... maybe not Ulamog. What's bad here? Scavenger Grounds is not as good. Probably cut an Explore and a Worm Coil. And 1 Ugin. Try like this. Well, it's a slow hand, but it is a good one. So we're going to keep. We would like a Veil of Summer to try and protect a threat with. Start Urza's Mine, Expedition Map, because it's the more important thing to try and resolve. But it plays an island. Cleansing Wildfire. Okay. Draw Karn, Great Creator. Play Forest. Sylvan Scrying, we'll go ahead and get a Power Plant. We basically don't want to give our opponent the opportunity to keep Cleansing Wildfiring the same land, basically. I think I said basically like twice in that sentence. Opponent plays a River Glide Pathway, that's fine. Draw Star. Play the Power Plant. Ancient Stirrings. Take Karn, Great Creator. Pass the turn. So my opponent, Archmage Charm to draw some cards. Snapcaster Mage for Cleansing Wildfire. This is okay. This is okay because we have a lot of basics. Go get Urza's Tower. Cleansing Wildfire. Get another forest. This is one reason why we're pretty happy we're playing additional basics. Ghost Quartering us doesn't really do that much. Okay. Play Tower. Play Karn. Go ahead and wish. Yeah, get coding. Pass the turn. Opponent might think that if they just attack Karn or have an answer for Karn, that they may not need to deal with coding and they might let us resolve it. This is a little dangerous because now my opponent is at the mana range where they can just flash in a Deceiver Exarch, untap, and play Kiki. Maybe I shouldn't have brought in the Enchantment Destruction because my opponent likely is not playing Blood Moon if they're going to Cleansing Wildfire us. Okay, we get an Explorer. Play Coding. Spell Snare. Okay. Play Star. Crack Star for green. Play a Forest. Play Explore. Uptick Karn. Pass the turn. Opponent opts. We basically have to top deck a land and resolve a Worm Coil, which isn't super likely when my opponent has 6 cards in hand because their entire deck is basically counter spells. But I mean, we can try. We take 7, we go to 13. Yeah, alright. Just gonna go ahead and go to game 3. I'm kind of running short on time to record here. I'm gonna drop the Nature's Claims, I'll leave the Wilt in. Bring back in an Ugin and a Thrag Tusk. We'll try it like this. I would like to play first. This hand theoretically assembles Tron. Sure, we'll keep. Start mine, play Star, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays an island, opts. Okay, well, we'd really like to draw a Tron land. That isn't Urza's Mine. Okay, we draw Veil, play Forest. Sylvan Scrying, we'll get Power Plant. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Cascade Bluffs, passes. We draw a second Veil. Play Power Plant. Sylvan Scrying. Here's where if they have another counter spell, we were saving the Chromatic Star to cast Veil. Okay. So crack Chromatic Star, we get to draw Ancient Stirrings. We Veil to turn that Remand into a Think Twice. Draw our third Veil. We get to tutor for Tower. This forces my opponent to cast Cleansing Wildfire if they have it, which means they're going to tap out for that. They play a River Glide Pathway. They pass. We untap. We draw. Explore. Okay. Play Tower. Play Sphere. Crack it for green. We draw Ugin. Ancient Stirrings. Get Karn, Great Creator. Rest to the bottom. Play Karn. Opponent will probably Archmage's Charm. They do not. Wish with Karn. We'll get Trinisphere. I think my opponent's got a Lightning Bolt. Overlapping sound effects hurt my ears. By the way, if you start playing a YouTube video right when Moto makes noise, you're going to have a bad time. Because it like maxes out the volume, which is just horrible. Opponent bolts Karn, bolts our face. Sure. I guess I should have wished for Sundering Titan, because my opponent technically has an island, but... Alright, play River Glide Pathway. We untap. Opponent Deceiver Exarchs. We're gonna Veil. Okay. Then we draw. Play Sanctum. Play Ugin. Sack Sanctum. And the reason we're doing this is because We can potentially cast Ulamog next turn if we top deck a Tron piece. Otherwise, we can play Karn and have our last Veil available. And we -3 to kill Deceiver Exarch, so our opponent just doesn't untap into Kiki. Pass the turn. They already used a Lightning Bolt, so odds that they have enough burn to just kill Ugin is very low. They play Cascade Bluffs. Then they pass. We untap. Draw Expedition Map. Okay. Cast Karn. Opponent Archmage's Charm, so we try and Veil. Okay, Veil resolves, which means so does Karn. Nuke Cascade Bluffs, so they don't have triple red. So even if their last card in hand is Kiki, they can't cast it and attack, and the game is over. Well, we went 1-4 and didn't get any prize. I'm basically out of time, so I'm going to just make a couple of quick notes here. Very, very quickly. We definitely want an O-Stone in the deck somewhere. It's got to be in the deck. Scavenger Grounds actually did a little bit of work versus Mill, but I didn't do it right, so I would like a Kozilek in the sideboard if Mill is going to be a thing, but we were very deep in the loser's bracket, so I don't think that's going to be something that happens commonly. Spatial Contortion, we did wish was a Dismember at one point, so probably should be a Dismember. Because Magus of the Moon is actually seeing a lot of play, which means we're going to need either a Wastes in the deck, which I don't want to do, or we need to have Dismember. We could probably cut a Thragtusk for an O-Stone in the main, and we could probably cut a Nature's Claim out of the side for a Dismember and have Dismember Spatial Contortion. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Not a very good showing for Tron today, but, you know, it's a little experimental still. We're working on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can always follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah. I mean, it'll be the day this video goes up. I hope to see you there. So, alright. I'll talk to you guys later. I want you to know you're all wonderful human beings, and thank you for watching. Bye.